Center at about this time, February 9, 2026. We go straight to the order of the program. We would like to welcome Dr. Augustine T. Laming, TMA of the Ministry of National Defense, to give us a welcome remark.
Deputy Defense Minister for Administration come to the podium for a welcome remark. So keep watching DN News. The name is George Cooper, coming to you live from the Ministry of National Defense, Barclay Training Center.
Where on behalf of the Ministry of National Defense, the Minister, General General George retired, as well as the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, Major General Davidson Follett, would like to welcome you to the Ministry of National Defense. Undoubtedly, the Ministry of Defense is one of the most outstanding ministries in government. And the records that there is an outperforming ministry in government. I mean, last year we got an award for being one of the highest performing government institutions, and we are proud of that. That's not all to it. But for this Elsie Initiative fund, where we try to increase female women participation in the armed forces, we believe that it is a very, very commending idea. As you can see, when I visited UN a couple of months ago, our eyes were just quizzed. What are you guys doing to have women in the armed forces? And I told them, I said, look, the Minister of Defense is a woman, a female, and she said she's going to lead a campaign for female recruitment in the armed forces of Liberia. And you know, there are a lot of benefits to that. Studies have shown that women in peacekeeping actually increases the viability of peace. If you have more women in peacekeeping, the level of peacekeeping is sure, is guaranteed. That's study. And the data are there. It's data proof for themselves. So what happens is that culture-wise, in most cultures, if you have a lot of men going peacekeeping, some cultures do not permit men to interact with female or women. But if you have the women peacekeeper on there, they're going to break that cultural divide. That's one thing. Another one is that rape. Studies have shown that in Rwanda and other places where peacekeepers have a mixture of women and men, the likelihood of rape was low. Rape was muted because you had the ladies there among the men. So a lot of benefit of female in the military. A lot more benefit that we can't recount all year. So given that, you know that there's a need for female, for women to be in the armed forces. And you can rest assured that the armed forces of Liberia, our upcoming recruitment, the Minister of Defense will be there. She's a champion for female recruitment in the armed forces of Liberia. Those who follow our armed conflict will let you know that during our civil conflict, some rebel groups, they couldn't negotiate ceasefire at some point. They refused, the warlord, they refused. If you remember, there was a women group, the Wagner, forgive me if I pronounce it wrongly, Wagner, Black Women Initiative, led by Lehman Bowen. They were there moving from one rebel leader, one warlord to another warlord to secure peace process. It tells you how women are very peaceful. So we got to recruit women. And defense ministry is ahead for the fact that we have the first female Minister of Defense. It means we are ahead of the divide already. It means that we are way ahead of our countries because we have the first female Minister of Defense. That's who we are. So ladies and gentlemen, like I said, you are welcome to the Ministry of Defense, where we have our female minister around all men. All deputies are men. Just imagine that. She's our iron lady. It tells you that our arms are open. We're going to take this women thing on our shoulder. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable DMA, for the warmest welcome. We now move to a brief overview of the project, and that will be done by Kofi Ireland, UN Women Liberia.
The Honorable Minister of National Defense, the Honorable Peter Speaker, Your Excellency, the Resident Coordinator of UN programs in Liberia, heads of UN agencies, our Deputy Ministers, the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Senior Command of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, members of the Diplomatic Corps, our men and women in uniform, students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The AFL Elsie Initiative Forum project in Liberia is a 2-year project led by the Ministry of National Defense in partnership with UN Women, and is aimed at increasing participation or female participation in the armed forces of Liberia and enhancing the deployment to peacekeeping missions. The project is designed to address some of the barriers that were identified from the findings of the barrier assessment that was conducted in 2022. However, we would like to emphasize there are things that the project will be able to support, and there are things that we to do, and what is it will not be able to do. So the first thing is that the project will support nationwide recruitment campaigns that should be targeting females. So the strategy from the Ministry of Defense is to visit universities and higher institutions of learning to make sure that they encourage females from those institutions to enroll. The project will also support specialized pre-deployment trainings that will enable females to better prepare, as well as males, to better prepare themselves for deployment to peacekeeping missions. It will strengthen gender equality and awareness programs within the force through support to the Gender Department of the Ministry of Defense and the AFL. Beyond recruitment, the project seeks to address deeper systemic issues by supporting policy reforms on recruitment, retention, whistleblowing, and harassment, prevention of harassment. It will provide free, reproductive, and mental health care services to female soldiers before and during deployment to peacekeeping missions. Those are the good aspects of the project. However, there are aspects, unfortunately, that the project will not be able to support. Firstly, the project will not support any infrastructure or facilities improvements, meaning that there is no funding to build new houses or homes for soldiers. And we try to make it clear so that when we go out from here, people don't look at the Ministry of Defense that you now have a project and we are staying in these kind of homes. The project will not support anything that has to do with infrastructure. 2, the project will not support the purchase of weapons, ammunition, or later military equipment. The project will not support that. 3, and most important, the project will not support salaries. The project is not designed to support salaries for Ministry of Defense or AFL. It will not support recurrent costs or personnel allowances. So there's no funding to support salaries and personnel or allowances in the project. And for implementation arrangements, we would like to emphasize here that the way the project is designed is that the Ministry of Defense, AFL, has a role, and they are the major implementing partners. They are the ones that will be responsible for the full implementation of the project. However, UN Women will provide technical support, and UN Women is the fund administrator, meaning that the money remains with UN Women and we support the AFL. So we just wanted for those to be clear, we're not giving the AFL money, we're not giving the Ministry of Defense money, but we're supporting the activities that they have earmarked in line with the project. And UN Women will now administer the funds, and AFL will be responsible for the implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, having said that, that is just a brief overview of the Elsie project, and we look forward to working together with the Ministry of Defense and the AFL. Thank you.
Thank you, Kofi. A quick recap. The Elsie Fund project is being launched to increase females' participation in the military and to address barriers. Let's again put our hands together for UN Women for this great initiative. We now welcome to the stage our keynote speaker, Honorable Mama Briggs Mensah, Representative District 6, Bond County.
So, Member Briggs Mensah, Representative Salala District number 6, Bond County, is the guest speaker of this occasion. So she's now come to the podium to deliver her special message.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I don't know about you, the way you're answering. I thought the women like to overshadow the answer. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much. Let me use this time to recognize the minister, and then the chief of staff, and our own one UN Christian, and your colleagues, UN Women, UN Human Rights, and all of the teams, and all of the security apparatus in the house, I see immigration, and all of our team. Let me also recognize our own Wangoso, the Women NGO Secretary, Esther, and let me recognize our Deputy Minister Laurent from the Ministry of Gender, and all of the gallant men and women in the house that have come, and all of the visiting guests that also come to grace this unique occasion and history-making one. Thank you, and it's a wonderful time being here. Let me tell you something. I always wanted to be in the military. Yeah, for some reason. And the only reason was the military, back then when I was growing up, it was so respected, and up to now it's happening. When you see army men passing, all the children will be hiding on one spot to see them. Yeah, people. And you know, so it was so unique. I always wanted to be there. And they walk in. But you know, I saw that respect this one time when you were doing your community service to realize. Oh, you didn't even tell them no for them. Everybody was in line like this. Check. But then even I was passing on, that was Saturday. Friday I was passing, the place was taking. I think the was taking the army program. So I think the legislator will need to do something that the army can be irrelevant for 3 months. So we'll see no die there. So these are the things that I use to admire. Let's just come back to our speech. I'm so honored and excited today at the launch of the Armed Forces of Liberia Elsie Initiative Fund project. This is a historic occasion, a moment that reflects Liberia's determination to build a society, a security sector that is inclusive, strong, forward-looking. Today, we are not just launching a project. We are making a bold statement about the future of our nation, a future where women voices, leadership, contribution, fully recognized and valued in the defense of our sovereignty, in the promotion of peace. First, let us take this moment to acknowledge and appreciate the remarkable leadership of the Ministry of National Defense, the Armed Forces of the Republic of Liberia, and UN Women Liberia. Your vision, commitment, and unwavering dedication to this initiative are truly commendable. The launch of the Elsie Initiative Fund is the result of strategic partnership, hard work, and a shared belief that inclusive security is essential for national progress. It is a thought and through your leadership that Liberia is sending a clear message to the world that our nation values equality, embrace innovation, and is committed to strengthening institutions that serve all citizens. Today, we celebrate you, for it is leaders like you who inspire confidence, foster hope, and shape the destiny of nations. Secondly, we must recognize the central and transformative role of women in Liberia, peace and security. Liberia history reminds us of the power, resilience, and leadership of women during the difficult years of conflict. Women were not only victims of hardship, but also peace builders, mentors, mitigators, and community leaders who work tirelessly to bring reconciliation to our country. Women like Lema Bowie, whose courage and vision led to national and global recognition, remind us that peace cannot be sustained without the women meaningful participation of women today. Women continue to serve our nation in the armed forces, in the police, and in all security areas and peacekeeping missions abroad. Yet for too long, women's contribution has been undervalued or overlooked. The Elsie Initiative funding seeks to change that and to institutionalize opportunities, remove barriers, and ensure women have the space to lead, to serve, and to excel. Thirdly, let us understand that supporting women in the military is not a gesture of charity. It is a strategic investment in Liberia's security. The future generation responsive institution are stronger, more credible, and more trusted by the commitment they serve. By increasing female representation, improving policy, creating professional opportunities, and strengthening work conditions, we are building a military that reflects the talent and courage and diversity of our nation. But for this vision to succeed, it requires collective responsibility. As legislators, as government officials, as partners in civil society, and as developmental allies, we must commit to supporting these reforms, not just in words, but in actions. We must ensure that policies are enforced, budgets are prioritized, and progress is continuously monitored. Sustainability change does not happen by accident. It requires persistent accountability and shared commitment. For the women of the armed forces of Liberia and to all the youth girls across our nation who dreams of one day wearing the uniform, your service matters, your leadership is valued, and your dreams are legitimate. The launch of this initiative sends a message that Liberia believes in your potential, invest in your growth, and trust you to protect our nation. You are not only defending our borders, you are inspiring our generation of Liberia to dream bigger and aim higher, and to believe that no ambition is too great. To all the guys watching today, know this, you too can serve, lead, and make a difference. You too can be a force for peace, resilience, and progress. Ladies and gentlemen, this initiative is not a call to action for all of us. It reminds us that building a stronger Liberia requires unity, purpose, and courage from everyone. Of us have a role to play, whether in government, civil society, the private sector, or as citizens. We must advocate for policies that empower women, support institutions that reflect our shared value, and invest in the talents of the Liberian. Together, we can ensure that our armed forces are not only capable, effective, but inclusive, adequate in every aspect of the budget. As we look toward the future, let us remember that inclusion is not only morally right, it is a smart governance. Nations that embrace diversity, equality, and shared leadership are more resilient, more innovative, and more successful. Liberia, a nation that have experienced both the horror of conflict and the triumph of peace, has unique opportunity to lead by example on the global stage. By fully supporting the participation of women in military and security, we are building institutions that reflect our highest value, inspire confidence, secure the peace for the generation to come. In closing, let me reaffirm that the Armed Forces of Liberia Elsie Initiative funding project is more than a program. It is a movement that we all need to join to make it transformative. And for this transformation to be into and translate into equality, the national government must strengthen its budget towards the military. So our partners, thank you for your unwavering support to our women and to our women in uniform. Thank you for your service, dedication, and courage, and to every stakeholders in this room. Let us move forward together with unity, purpose, strength, conviction, and shared commitment. Liberia, where every citizen can serve, lead, and strive. As we launch the project today, let us be people that will be accountable. We already got an overview. It's not for us to increase salary. It's not for us to build new buildings, but it's for us to put together to train women that will be serviceable and that will increase women participation in the military. May God bless our women. May God bless the armed forces of Liberia. May God bless the Republic of Liberia. Thank you.
So she's Member Police Minister, Salala District Number 6 Representative, Speaker of this official launch at the Ministry of National Defense.
We now move to the sole purpose of this program, the official launch of the Elsie project. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let us welcome to this podium our Honored Lady, Brigadier General
The Minister of National Defense, Geraldine Jeanette George, comes to the podium to officially launch this program. She's Geraldine Jeanette George. She's the Minister of National Defense. By the way, she's the first female Minister of National Defense, former Deputy Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, former Deputy Defense Minister for Operations, and now Minister Proper of National Defense.
Speaker, officials of government here present, our UN partners, the Chief of Staff and men and women of the Armed Forces of Liberia, the ECOWAS advisory team, heads of security institutions here present, members of the diplomatic corps, the OSCE representatives from various universities and high schools, members of the full estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It is an honor to stand before you today as the official launcher of the Elsie Initiative Fund project, titled Strengthening Armed Forces of Liberia Women Active Participation in Peace and Security through Deployment to Peacekeeping Missions. I extend our sincere appreciation to all national and international partners whose collaboration has brought us thus far. Since the end of the civil crisis in Liberia, the Armed Forces of Liberia have undergone significant reform to become a professional, accountable, and effective institution. As part of this transformation, we recognize that modern military must reflect the diversity of our societies it serves. While progress has been made, women still remain underrepresented in operational, leadership, and deployment roles in the Armed Forces of Liberia. Women currently constitute a low representation of little over 7% of our force. This is not a reflection of women's capability or commitment, but rather structural and institutional barriers related to deployment, eligibility, and infrastructure gaps. Social inclusion that are identified in the September 2022 Armed Forces of Liberia report on results of the measuring opportunities for women in peacekeeping operations assessment. In an international effort to address these barriers, on November 11, 2025, the Ministry of National Defense and the UN Women signed the Elsie Initiative Fund project. This project has a total budget of $663,791 United States dollars, 81 cents. Thanks be to God that the Elsie Initiative Fund for Uniform Women in Peacekeeping made this project a reality. This project provides a timely and strategic opportunity to remove barriers that women normally encounter when they decide to join the Armed Forces of Liberia. Over the next 2 years, the project will support the Armed Forces of Liberia to strengthening institutional systems, policies, and gender planning, expand training and development opportunities for women within peacekeeping operations, build leadership capacity on gender equity, protection, and peacekeeping standards, and improve data system to track the progress and ensure accountability. These efforts will enhance not only gender inclusion, but also the operational effectiveness and professionalism of our peacekeeping contributions. While we are grateful for the support of the Elsie Initiative Fund and our partners, the Ministry of National Defense and the Armed Forces of Liberia will take full ownership of this reform agenda. We will commit to implementing this initiative with discipline, transparent, and sustained leadership. This project is fully aligned with the Liberian national priorities, including the National Defense Act, the National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security. It supports the Ministry and the Armed Forces of Liberia's gender policy while aligning with global frameworks such as UNSCR 1325 and the Sustainable Development Goals. Through this initiative, Liberia reaffirms its commitment to ensuring women are fully prepared, supported, and empowered to serve and lead in peace operations. As we gather here today, let us reaffirm our shared responsibility to turn commitment into action. When our commitment are turned into action, we will increase the number of female uniformed personnel in the armed forces of Liberia, thereby enhancing the pool of military women eligible for deployment to UN peacekeeping missions. I look forward to a continued collaboration that will ensure the success of this important initiative. Let this not serve as a call to collective responsibility. Progress will require commitment at every level, from policy makers to military leadership and training institutions and those who serving on ground. When women are empowered to participate fully, security institutions become stronger and peacekeeping contributions become more credible. With this reflection and with confidence in the commitment of the government of Liberia and its partners, it is my honor to officially declare the Elsie Initiative Fund project, strengthening the armed forces of Liberia's women active participation in peacekeeping and security through deployment to peacekeeping missions, fully launched. I wish this project every success and look forward to its positive impact on Liberia's security institutions and peacekeeping. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And as we all listen, the Minister showed us that this project will be very transparent. And we all know that transparency is key in everything we do. So we quickly move on to special remarks, and that will be done by Ms. Comfort Lanty, UN Women Country Rep.
UN colleagues, and of course our own military personnel. Good morning. I stand on the existing protocols. Good morning. My work today is twofold. One, to invite the resident coordinator to give a speech on behalf of the UN, and also to just give a very brief remark on behalf of Madam Comfort-Lanty, who is not here, but she has stood solidly behind this project from the inception. Personally, I really do wish she was here because this is her brainchild, but she sends her regards, and she has asked us to give this speech. while inviting the resident coordinator. Today, we gather not only to launch a project, but to celebrate a defining moment in Liberia's journey to the global stage. This is remarkable. This project is coming at a remarkable point when Liberia has ascended to a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. So this is not only a diplomatic achievement, but it's also a call to leadership. It's a call to demonstrate that through action, the values that Liberia brings to the global family of nations, resilience, inclusivity, and a steadfast commitment to peace. So we believe that Liberia does deserve that seat on the table. You've demonstrated over the years that you've been able to broker peace, and the world has recognized it. I think we deserve a round of applause. We will continue to clap for Liberia on behalf of African nations on this great achievement. Amen. As Liberia takes its seat on the United Nations Security Council, the world is watching. And I dare say the world is not watching Liberia, the world is watching Africa. Let them see an Africa that leads not only with words, but with actions and inclusivity. Let them see a military that embodies the principles of equality, professionalism, and service. Let them see, in my speech here it says in Liberia, but I want to say let them see an Africa that understands that peace is strongest when everyone has a seat at the table and a role in the vision. The launch of the Elsie Initiative today sends a powerful message that Liberia does not simply advocate for global peace from the council table. It lives it, and it invests in these institutions that make peace possible. So in other words, we're putting our money where our mouth is, and I think they deserve a round of applause. The AFL is a symbol of Liberia's transformation. So, I'd like to congratulate you, Madam Minister, and all the colleagues that have made it possible, that it is possible to reform. Mm-hmm. It's possible. It's possible to reform in Africa. And we would like to really congratulate you on that. From its rebuilding to its professionalization, the AFL has consistently shown that reform is possible, progress is attainable, and excellence is within reach. So not only can we attain the gold standard, we can be the standard. And it's really remarkable and commendable in Liberia. With the Elsie Initiative, the AFL is poised to champion yet another dimension of leadership and reform. That is advancing the meaningful participation of women in peacekeeping and strengthening Liberia's readiness to answer the call of global responsibility. The Honorable Minister will say that it was just about 7% of women represented in the military here. But we believe that with that spirit of reform that you have started, we will increase that with some of the support from all of us around the table. Thirdly, today we honor the women of the armed forces of Liberia, such as retired Major General Ophelia Ime, trailblazers who have worn the uniform with courage and pride, often opening doors that were once firmly closed. We honor their exceptional courage in choosing to enlist in the AFL at a time when women had to overcome entrenched institutional barriers, navigate a predominantly male environment, and shoulder the unique pressures and expectations placed upon service women. Her career reflects commitment, resilience, and leadership, ultimately earning her rank of Major before retirement. Her service is not only an inspiration, but also a blueprint for the AFL's future. May this launch ignite renewed energy, inspire new commitments, and pave the way for the next generation of peacekeepers, women and men. who will carry Liberia's flag with honor across the world. On this note, I invite our resident coordinator to give us speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning. Honorable Minister of National Defense, Honorable Ministers Present, Deputy Ministers, Chief of Staff, our keynote speaker, all the security people here, distinguished members of the international community, my own UN colleagues, representatives of civil society, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and allow me to stand on existing protocols. It's a distinguished honor to join you for the launch of the Elsie Initiative Fund project with the Armed Forces of Liberia. And thank you, Comfort, from the UN Women who are the UN agency leading on this. Allow me to extend the wider United Nations warmest appreciation to the government of Liberia and to the leadership of MOD and AFL for your steadfast commitment to advancing gender equality within security sector and for your continued dedication to strengthening Liberia's contribution to international peace and security. I also want to add my voice to say that Liberia being at the Security Council, it's not a matter of chance or accident. You earned it. You really earned it. For a country that had over 14 years of war, Ebola, COVID, and all these problems, and the fact that we've seen peace for the last over 20 years, we don't take it for granted. It's an example to emulate. The fact that we don't see guns on the streets, you've silenced the guns, and you've sustained the peace for that long. And you know that even within our region in Africa, there are countries where, until today, every day, the war has not stopped, and insecurity is all over the place. So the world sees and recognizes this, and the place at the international stage brings more responsibility to keep doing what you do, but also to shine a light to those who want to emulate the same, and for all of us to continue working towards peace. So thank you so much for the hope you give, not only to Africa, but to the world, as we see troubled regions. When we see peace, we see hope, we see development. So thank you so much for your service. The Elsie Initiative, as we mentioned, is a flagship United Nations mechanism designed to support uniformed security institutions in identifying and removing the structural and institutional barriers that impede women's full, equal, and meaningful participation in peace operations. Around the world, the participation of women in military and police deployments remain below global commitments. Therefore, the Elsie Fund offers countries an opportunity to undertake rigorous assessments, adopt evidence-based reforms, and strengthen the enabling conditions that allow women to serve and to lead. And allow me to say that, really, as countries, as people, we are beyond proving that women are capable. We know that, we've seen that in action, and the inclusion of women is not a matter of charity, I mean, half of the including half of the population in any activities, I think by now it's a matter of common sense and economic sense. You cannot imagine developing, I mean, you can't walk with one leg. You have two legs and you think you run the race. So it's on those premises that, you know, promoting gender equality in all our societies stands on that premise that we will not see full scale of development, full scale of our potential as societies unless we observe that all the society, all parts of the society must be included. So Liberia's engagement in this initiative is particularly noteworthy. It signals the country's continued leadership on women, peace and security agenda, and reaffirms Liberia's long-standing reputation as a champion of inclusive peace building at home and abroad. We've listened to many messages, and I think there was one event at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs where we strengthened the agenda of women, peace and security, youth, peace and security, and these are messages that will continue to be very important locally, but also globally. I'm aware that the armed forces of Liberia have, over the past 2 decades, undertaken significant institutional transformation and professionalization. That this project presents an important next step in that journey. It's just building blocks. So, global evidence demonstrates that peace operations with greater women's participation are more trusted by communities, more operationally effective, and better positioned to prevent and respond to emerging threats. By advancing women's meaningful participation, the AFL is strengthening both its national credibility and its international readiness. And I can tell you, I've lived in a country that have gone through war, and during crisis, the majority of the people who are affected are women and children. So if you deploy in a country of crisis and you do not deploy women, imagine how much and you could do more if you deploy women and even young people, because it speaks directly to the special groups that are affected. So a balanced deployment is always very, very important. It also complements Liberia's regional and international commitments, demonstrating that the country remains engaged, forward-looking, and ready to model practices within the ECOWAS region. I think these are also principles that are pushed by the regional blocs like ECOWAS. The implementation of this initiative extends beyond the AFL itself. A more gender-responsive and inclusive security sector strengthens public trust, enhances national stability, and supports the broader aspiration of Liberia's development agenda. No one is going to make investments in Liberia if they don't feel safe. So what you do goes beyond you. It's for the nation, it's for the development. Nobody is going to spend $1 here to increase the economy if they don't feel that themselves as individuals are safe, or even their money invested in Liberia is safe. So what you do goes beyond, and that's why a strong link between security, peace, and development is quite strong, both here but also in other countries where you'll be deployed to serve. As Liberia looks forward, its long-term national vision, including SDGs embedded within the Agenda 2030. Initiatives such as this one help ensure progress is equitable, inclusive, and sustainable. They reinforce the understanding that security, development, and gender equality are mutually reinforcing pillars of national transformation. As I close, let me commend once again the leadership of the Ministry of National Defense, the Armed Forces of Liberia, and the government at large, and the people of Liberia in general, for the commitment to this important endeavor. I also wish to acknowledge the dedication of all the women who are serving in the different capacities. I really want to thank also our colleagues from UN Women that have worked closely with the Ministry of Defense and AFL to get the project developed and approved. Let me assure you that the United Nations family, and I see my colleague here from the Office of Human Rights, and UNDP, other colleagues in the audience, thank you for being here. Just to tell you that we remain deeply committed to supporting Liberia as it undertakes this next step and in strengthening its security institutions and advancing the women, peace, and security agenda. Together, we can really help to ensure that the armed forces of Liberia continues to evolve into an institution that fully reflects the values, aspirations, and potential of every Liberian. Like the slogan says, the armed forces of Liberia, a force for good. I would like to tell you that many countries do want to come here to learn lessons from how you do it, to exchange, and vice versa. So with those few words, I never end my speech without saying, God bless Liberia. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Your Excellency, for that resounding remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's recognize our U.S. guests. Please put your hands together for them. Members of the diplomatic corps, let's also put our hands together for them. Members of the legislature, let's please put our hands together for them. Officials and staff of the Ministry of National Defense, let's put our hands together for them. AFL High Command, please put your hands together for them. Members of Bongozo, AMU Zion, UL, Liberia Immigration, Liberia Fire Service, Customs, and our 4th estates. Let's put our hands together for them. We move quickly to remarks, and please note that you have 2 minutes to give your remarks. We now go on the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, Major General Davidson F. Fuller. 2 minutes.
So I thought I would be making a very good case for the military and the Ministry of National Defense, but in 2 minutes, I'm afraid I won't do that. Honorable Keynote Speaker, Madam Nanstad, thank you for a great speech. Honorable Geraldine Junior George, staff of the Ministry of National Defense, members of the legislature present here today, officials of government, diplomatic corps, country representative, UN Women, and your delegation, the Deputy Chief of Staff, members of the Armed Forces of Liberia, other security apparatus present, friends from different schools. I'd like to recognize the military ambassador to the President, Daniel Zantan, who is represented by my Queen. And our good friend, Moton, Andrew. Moton, just wait for me, let me see you right there. Yeah, Moton is our very good friend. He helped to train some of us from Danny called PAE. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. When we took over the mantle of authority some 2 years ago, Mr. President asked me on that record, what is the size of the military? And I told him, and there was some later this day, he asked me, what can we do to bring that number up to what it should be? I said, Mr. President, before the war, the armed forces of Liberia, statutorily, the numbers were 6,000. And we were deployed in the entire of Liberia from all sectors. Our presence were felt. Today, and at that time, the population of Liberia was 3.5 million. Today, our population is 5.some million. And we run a brigade size with other units in the military. That's a disconnect. It does not add up. It was against that background that, as the president said, there's a need for recruitment. Vigorous recruitment. When Mr. President had this intent, so to me as Chief of Staff, it's a tax to me. And when I'm taxed through the Minister of National Defense from Mr. President, I come up with my mission statement. And my mission statement was clear, that we will recruit 600 every year. So my policy people put these beautiful documents together. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it may interest you to know, Madam Representative, there has been no improvement for recruitment in this year's budget. It is sad to say that. But graciously, I work for the Commander-in-Chief, and he tells me that there will be recruitment. So I know that some way, somehow, there will be some money somewhere. So, Madam Representative and your team sitting here, please, we just want to tell you to talk to the people. Interestingly, we will not benefit from these monies if there is no recruitment. How do we benefit? Because recruitment must come. Then we go after the ladies, the females, then we can make use of this money. So there is no recruitment, no money. Please talk to these people for us. We are challenged. I work with the United Nations. You know, Liberia really benefited from these military things when military came here and there was peace and everything was fine. So we had to reciprocate. That's how Liberia went to AFISMA with a platoon size, a very small number. But they did not want a platoon size, so we had to go on a Nigeria. Can you imagine the whole country going on another country? That's why they make Nigeria our big brother. At some point, we had to stand by ourselves. So we had to be a company size, standing by ourselves, doing exceptionally well. Even at that level, we're too small to serve in the UN. We're challenged because myself served as a chief of personnel in that mission, overseeing over 13,000 troops. I was sitting right there, chief of personnel. Liberia number for females was very small. So we're also challenged there. It is against that backdrop that today UNSA funds coming in to help us recruit more females. Who will do our best? We're going to show you, Madam Dr. Representative, that these monies will be used for the purpose intended. I know Kofi has given us the guidelines, and Kofi, you are right. Because if Kofi don't come up with that, then the Ministry of Finance or some ministry will say, well, these people get 600,000, so that might not stay from their money. So it's very good that you brought it out to us. We want to say thank you, UN Women, for the great initiative. We'll do our best to ensure that females' participation in the next recruitment will be a priority. I have gotten a direct marching order from the minister that we should do exclusive female recruitment. So I'm working on exclusive female recruitment is something that we're going to introduce for the first time. Meaning that we want to take more females from 7% and we want to raise that number up to something good. How do we do that? We need this kind of money. Not to build apps, but to go all in the counties and recruiting these females. There are many ways we can do it so that they can come in. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you and have yourself a great day.
Thank you, Chief. Let's also recognize the Kofi Annan Institute. Please put your hands together for them. We now call on the Deputy Minister of Gender, Madam Laura Bolakia.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Prime Minister, greet our keynote speaker, all our distinguished government officials, our partners from the United Nations, especially the RC, from UN Women, UNDP, our partners also from civil society. We like to recognize you, to the Chief of Staff and the leadership of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, members of the Diplomatic Corps, our media people, all of us. I'd like to say good morning again. Good morning. And I cannot pass my 2 minutes. I'm honored to represent the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. All of us will agree that increasing women's participation in the security sector is not simply a matter of fairness, it is a matter of effectiveness, professionalism, and national development. We all know the evidence is clear. Security institutions that include women are more trusted by the communities, they are more responsive to civilians, and they are more effective in peacekeeping environments. Women peacekeepers continue to play a critical role in engaging communities, addressing sexual and gender-based violence, supporting survivors, and strengthening confidence in peace operations. Those of us that were here a few years back, we saw the transformative power of women in uniform. During the all-male years, there was a deployment of the all-female police unit. And I want to believe it really was a defining moment for all of us. Because through that force, we saw a high level of professionalism. We saw how they engaged with the communities, and we saw how they shifted perceptions about the role of women in security in this country. The work that they did, it demonstrated clearly that when women serve, institutions are strengthened and communities feel safer. As Liberia served as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, we also have an even greater responsibility to lead by example. All of us must ensure that our advocacy for women's meaningful participation in peace and security is reflected in all our national institutions. And as we reflect or just look back at that all women, female or police unit that we had that was served in our country, let us also try to envision a future where one day we will have an all-female Liberian police or armed unit leading in this country or leading UN peacekeeping missions. I do believe that will be a powerful statement to our progress and our leadership. As we launch this project today, I'd like to encourage all of us to continue to work together, to ensure that young women across Nigeria can see a future for themselves in uniform, serving their country and contributing to global peace. At the Ministry of Gender, we remain committed to working with you, Prime Minister, and your team to ensure that our force is inclusive, our force is professional, our force is one that reflects the diversity of our country, and our force is a force for good. Thank you all so much for having us.
Thank you, Madam Olakia. We now take remarks from our representative from the Diplomatic Corps.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Prime Minister, thank you for the invitation. Chief of Staff, thank you. The colleagues from the UN family, colleagues from the civil society, members of the RSN. important action that we support today. An action that proves that the commitment of Liberia with women's political participation is in all spheres of the society. Today I stand before you to repeat what we have said in Europe, principle, the full and meaningful participation of women in military and peace mission is and must be a cornerstone of the defense policy and the security agency. It is a cornerstone in the European Union security and defense policy. This is not merely rhetorical. It reflects a practical understanding that peace operations are more effective, legitimate, and sustainable when women serve at all levels. It was already said, but we want to repeat this. But let's be also honest about where we are today. Military peace will remain men-dominated, and I'm speaking about the European situation. Women represent less than 10% of personnel in the European Union common like security, military defense. So we are in the same path, doing the same effort, and we are very happy to accompany you in your efforts. We value what you are doing today. It was already said, it's an example for the continent, but it's also an example for what we are doing in Europe. Operation experience show that mixed team improve situational awareness, strengthen civil and military cooperation, increase local trust and intelligence flow. Reduce also misconduct and improve discipline. This is fact. This is not only words. So we are pursuing the same effort. This is a discussion about operation effectiveness. Women often have access to part of communities that men peacekeepers cannot reach cultural norms. It's also sustainable. It's also part of the sustainable efforts. Independent research shows that peace process, when women participation, are more likely to be sustainable. And this reflects also universal value. The European policy is built on human rights, gender equality, and inclusivity. So let's continue to work together. The European Union will support this year with a new program, the UN, the Women, Youth, Peace Security Agenda. So we are happy to accompany also the efforts of our partner from the UN family. So I wish the project every success, and let's lead with action and not only with words. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Still on remarks, we call on Debbie Cindy, Program Director of the Elsie Initiative.
Prof. Sunday.
Yeah, I've never been caught with my shirts off like I've done today. Minister, I'm going to take my general position and I'm going to command what happens here before we all leave. All protocols observed, and it's so great to be here. Madam, I call her our ambassador, because Madam Victoria doesn't just represent the UN here, she represents Liberia everywhere, and we follow some of her tracks. I'm a Briggs. That's a word myself. I just want you to know You had a desire you didn't accomplish, I accomplished my desire. I joined the army and I became a general. And you all know that. So you want to know how? Come to me. Minister, Chief of Staff, I really feel so happy today. Because when this process, yes, that the level started everything, I didn't start everything, but we developed the first Elsie Initiative, looking at the barrier assessment, and the Kofi Annan Institute led the research that identified the barriers that we are looking to address today. We didn't just identify the barriers, we also identify some of the constraints within the armed forces of Liberia that will increase their potential to mitigate those barriers. However, every time I meet the then, of course, Deputy Chief of Staff, now Minister of Defense, and the Chief of Staff, I've lamented that the committee that was supposed to set within the armed forces of Liberia to begin to work on these barriers, I'm still not hearing from these committees what is going on. How do we support you? How do we encourage you? But in things security hides, security doesn't hide anymore. Today we are all here, and what they have been doing in the background is in the open, and I want to say thank you. And the UN Women, we partnered over a long period. All the women peace and security courses that were run, the Kofi Annan Institute ran them. And as a result of those courses, today, even the 1-inch level of increase of women in the security sector leadership comes from the output of some of those courses and training. So, two things I want to say here. Kofi Annan Institute led the research. We were supported because we don't have the equipment by the Gender Security Sector Lab of Cornell University, which is one of our collaborating universities. So they had to do a lot of the analysis because we don't have the equipment to do this for the Elsie Initiative research that was done on the barrier assessment. So we don't want to give them all of the credit that should be given for this. But we also know that recently, the Kofi Annan Institute led the needs assessment for the mental health of the armed forces of Liberia, and by extension, the security sector of Liberia. The armed forces of Liberia was a case study. But we are also happy to know that the mental health unit have now been established, and we would like to know, thank you, we would also like you to know that we are still interested not just in the research that creates some of these things, but also some progress in what is happening along those lines. And with that, I'm going to use the 2 minutes here to say we remain available to support you in whatever way we can. We like the book business, but our book business is based on creating the hard facts on which decisions can be made, on which policies can be drawn, and we are here to support you to do that. We are available, and we thank you.
Thank you, sir. Quick call on the Liberian Immigration Services. Please, 2 minutes. Special reminder.
The general. Well, thank you very much. I will speak you in 2 minutes.
Thank you, as I said, distinguished guests and partners, officials of government, our honorable guest speaker, officials and members of national defense, officials of the armed forces of Liberia, members of the four states, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The IRS is honored by the invitation to form part of the launch of the Elsie Initiative, which is dedicated to driving transformative reform and advancing women participation in peace operations. Today, we have proudly gathered in recognition of the important role women play in the armed forces of Liberia and by extension the security sector. Their service demonstrates the love for country and commitment to duty are not determined by gender. Liberian women in uniform serve with honor in many areas, including administration, medical services, logistics, intelligence, and peace support operations. They contribute not only to national defense, but also to community trust, especially among women and children, and to peace-building efforts across the country. The participation of women in the armed forces of Liberia reflects Liberia's commitment to equality, democracy, and respect for human rights. It also supports international efforts on the women, peace, and security agenda, which promotes women involvement in security institutions and conflict prevention. We salute the courage and professionalism of women of the armed forces of Liberia. They stand proudly beside their male counterparts in defending our nation's sovereignty and promoting peace and stability. Let us continue to support and empower women in uniform, for when women are included, our armed forces and our nation grows stronger. May God bless the armed forces of Liberia. May God bless the Republic of Liberia. And we say thank you to the Ministry of Defense and the Armed Forces of Liberia for this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mwolo, Deputy Commissioner for Administration. We quickly call on LNP, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Chief of Gender, Tita Wilson.
Honorable Minister, kindly allow me as I align with the existing protocol. I bring you greetings from the Inspector General of Police, Honorable Barclay O.W. Coleman, along with his principal deputies. It is indeed a great honor to be part of this initiative today, because we all know the impact of women in the various institutions. We understand that over the years, women have been downplayed, their efforts were not mentioned, or they were not recognized. But nowadays, we know that women are taking a stand. We are no longer behind, we are alongside the male. So we have this song that says, no longer, this one again. And the women are the back. Together we will work, sabasa, 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 sabasa. No longer men at the front and the women at the back. Together we will work, sabasa, sabasa. And for yourselves, our elegant women. We are mothers, we are caregivers, we are treasures, we are supporters, and we can do the extraordinary. Once we get our minds to it, we make it happen. I don't know, but I heard the Army General say that exclusive class for women. I look forward to having the LNP look in that direction too. To have an exclusive class for all women. Because there's this thing I always tell my officers. Sometimes they say, oh, it's not a gender thing, a gender thing. You go to the gender, and they are forgetting to know that gender covers both men male and female. But then the male are already here. So why are we still talking about them here? And we went down here. So we need to bring the marginalized at least to a level where we can, partnership with them. On this note, we say thank you for having us, and we look forward to working with every one of you. Thank you, Minister.
Through this essay form, I can assure you that with this essay form, our number will be increased. We are going to be increased. The Defense Ministry and the AFL going to work to make sure that this opportunity will not go down the drain. No way. We are going to strive to increase our females. As we all know, the purpose of this fund is to increase females. So we are not going to take it for a joke. We are going to do all we can so that the Liberian women can have the opportunity to serve with their male counterparts. Having said this, I say thanks to all of us. Thank you very much to you women. Thank you, ma'am. And thanks to all for coming. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am. So this is how we come to the end of this program, and I would like to call on the Assistant Minister for Public Affairs to give us the order of the photo session.
Thank you. So quickly, before I go to the photo section, let me just talk about the refreshment. The Honorable Minister of National Defense, the Chief of Staff, and the rest of the Minister's guests will be served in the Minister's office. And the rest of us will get our food from where you see the kitchen staff. So we'd like to emphasize that, please, if you are not designated, we will not have everybody go in the Minister's office for refreshment. Only the Minister's guests. Thank you. For the photo section, we'd like to announce that we will have at least 5 sections, very brief. We have the Honorable Minister of National Defense, the UN Resident Coordinator, and the representative of the UN Women Country Representative will be the first people to do their photo downstairs. Again, the Minister of National Defense, the UN Resident Coordinator, and the representative of the UN Women Country Representative will be the first batch to do their photo. That will be followed by the Minister, the UN Resident Coordinator, and the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia. That's the second batch. Yes, downstairs. Again, the Minister, the UN Resident Coordinator, and the Chief of Staff. The third section will be the Honorable Minister of National Defense, the UN Resident Coordinator, the Chief of Staff, the keynote speaker, the government official that is being represented here by the Deputy Gender Minister and the representative of the UN Women Country Representative. The fourth section, you will have the Minister of National Defense, the UN Resident Coordinator, the Chief of Staff, the keynote speaker, the Deputy Minister for Administration, the Deputy Minister for Operation, the Deputy Chief of Staff. The last section, or second to the last, you have the Honorable Minister of National Defense, the UN Resident Coordinator, the Chief of Staff, the keynote speaker, the Deputy Minister for Administration, Deputy Minister for Operation, the Deputy Chief of Staff, all Assistant Ministers, the AFL High Command, and our partners. And the last group will be all of us. So we kindly asking you to work with public affairs and protocol as we observe these sections for the photo taking. Thank you, and please proceed downstairs. Thank you very much. Again, if you are not the minister's guest, please get your food from outside. Thank you.
Okay, folks, so this is how we come to the end of this program here at the Ministry of National Defense Barclay Training Center. Of course, the name is George.